Hello, good people. Welcome back to the channel. As always, if you're enjoying these interviews, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so that I can keep bringing them to you. And today, I am so excited and so thrilled to bring you this interview with the wonderful, marvelous, talented Rexy Rolle. And
Ah,
if you don't know, Rexy, I can't deal with, you're so amazing. Rexy is currently the Vice President of Operations and General Counsel at Western Air, which is the largest privately owned airline in the Bahamas, as well as the most successful Black owned airline in the Bahamas, if I am correct. Which is just, talk about Black History Month, talk about all those different things. This is so amazing, and I'm so excited to finally have the chance to speak with you. She's been featured in Essence, XO Nicole, BET, Travel Noire, and much more, and I'm so glad that she was able to make the time for me today. So welcome, Rexy.
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Long
Long
time.
time coming, but we finally got it and we're here, and I'm so excited to hear more about your story and really, highlight the amazing work that you do with the airline and with your music and with everything. So we'll get right into it. So why don't you talk to us about how you got started? I know you were a young woman, you were 12, you probably, mentioned this story multiple times, but tell us a little bit about how you got started in the airline industry.
Yeah, this really started with my parents, and there's no shame in my game in touting their efforts. And this started Western Air began when I was 12 years old.
Yep.
And a little backstory, we're in the Bahamas, and so we're separated by water. There's a lot of small islands. And so there is a tendency to kind of hop on a smaller aircraft and go from island to island. But there, our island specifically was not being catered to as consistently as we would have
Mm,
liked. And at the time, we were living in Florida because
yeah.
my mom was going back to school, and so my dad is a private pilot, so he definitely knew what the services that was needed, and certainly the aircraft solutions that would be best to start off with. And so they took a leap of faith and got their business plan together and tried to start an airline. And from there, obviously, I've been around aviation for a long time. And my, sole purpose was to figure out how can I be of value because it wasn't an easy road for them. Um, and it's still not an easy road. There's a lot of complexities in terms of uh, in the aviation business and the airline industry. And so for me, it's I've been most useful
Yeah.
in the operation side of it, and of course on the legal side of it.
Yeah. So amazing that you went to law school and you've done all these other things and you're able to help them with their airline business. We've seen you all get new planes and do new routes and all those different things. So you've really been really having a great experience while working there as well. Tell us a little bit. I know faith, God is really important in your life. How has that sort of guided your path as you've chosen sort of these different things to build you up to where you are now?
Oh man, that's I've always said that it's important. Religion is one thing,
Yeah.
but faith and having spirituality or having a real connection to God
Yep.
is really important to me. It always has been, and I think for me, when you experience God,
Yep.
you have a sense of purpose and you
Mm,
have a sense of knowing exactly what you should be doing. And so I always kind of do a temperature check to
mm,
see, am I doing the right thing? And I don't believe that's just me and my conscience. And I'd like to feel that I'm guided by God, and
yep.
and it has worked out really well.
Yeah.
So I believe that we are, and then I always say faith and action comes together. So I'm
Mhm.
certainly not dismissing the fact that we have to really bust our behinds to do well
Yeah.
and work hard and have consistency. And there's a lot of work involved. However, there are some things that you see across the line
Yep.
in your life, and you're like, oh, okay, I couldn't have planned that. I
Right.
couldn't have planned that.
Right.
And we've certainly seen that a lot. We even like to say Western Air is a company created by God because we don't. It,
Mm,
we always make that joke, but we mean it
yeah.
because for us to be a young Black family and to kind of have everything come into line in that way.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that outside of our intelligence, outside of our um, dedication, there were just
Yeah.
favor moments that came into play. Meeting the right people,
Mm,
connecting, being at the right place at the right time, providing services that just happen to be needed.
right.
And so, we take it day by day, and we never take it for granted,
Yeah.
because every
Yeah.
day it's a challenge to, want to better yourself each time. We
Yeah.
have competition, we have a lot of things going on. But to me, as long as you have purpose and your object is to really help people, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that really what it's about for me,
Right.
um, then it's gonna all work out,
Yeah. Yeah. I can certainly tell you, hearing you and seeing what you've been doing with it, I cannot wait to go to the Bahamas and fly
Yes,
Western
yeah,
Air. I would love to experience it, and I think you all have done a really great job of pivoting during this pandemic and things like that. So I know that that's been tough, but you all are
yeah.
definitely, yeah, you all are doing really great despite
Thank you.
all of that. So in your Forbes interview, you talked about the gender norms that are placed on you, right? And you said a woman can solve the world's problems, but at the end of the day, people still want to know if she's single. What advice do you have for young women combating these norms, wanting to do sort of what you're doing along the same lines of what you're doing? What advice would you give them to sort of ignore the search bar that says like, oh, is Rexy, da, 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 and keep
Yeah.
focused on what they're doing?
I would say the most important thing is authenticity. If you are somebody who, you were 4 years old and you were dreaming about getting married and having kids, I'm not going to say that's bad.
Right.
However, I'm not going to say that if you are 35 and you decide I want to be a freaking astronaut and I don't want to be someone's trophy wife,
Right.
then yeah,
Yeah.
go and kick ass and do that too,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And so I think the most important thing is kind of extending grace to yourself
Mm, mm,
and to others, and allowing people to live in their truth. And if that means that, allow them to live in their truth and their timelines,
yeah.
because when you think about women, and I just turned 30
Yeah. Oh,
twice.
me too. Me too.
And then when you think about
Yeah.
that, sometimes across that line, everybody's like, timeline.
Yeah.
Gotta get married, you gotta have kids, all that stuff. And that's, hey, I'm not knocking that, and that's great. And I certainly, would like to do that. However, I think we have to allow people to live in their space, live in their timelines, and do things the way how it was intended for them to do it. And I don't think anyone's journey should be the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Great advice. Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is "Trust the timing of your life." Right, and I
Yeah.
think it's so hard for a lot of us, especially women, because of those questions. Right, and like you, I turned 30 and automatically, oh, you're gonna get married, you're gonna have kids, da, 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 da. And I'm like,
Yeah.
y'all need to chill. Okay, I am on a different path,
Yeah.
and it'll get there when it gets there. But yeah, I really
Yeah.
appreciate you saying that, and shout outs to you for just everything that you've accomplished so far. I cannot wait to see what your 30s bring you and how many different things you're going to get to experience and explore. And I'll ask you a question a little bit about that a little bit later. Um,
Okay.
Leading into that, though, what has been sort of the toughest thing about being a Black woman in the aviation industry? I'm sure that there's one of 10, one of 5. It's you're one of the few in the room, and I imagine that brings its own challenges. What's sort of been the toughest part for you?
I would say being a Black woman in the aviation industry, some of the things that come into play is underestimation. And I
Mm,
think that's specific to the aviation industry. I think that's just across the board. And so, and then in combination with that, you join with the age, and then you also join the family dynamic. So people tend to assume, well, if this was a family business, it means she didn't really earn her keep. Honey,
mm,
put in a lot of work. So
yeah, 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 yeah.
there's a lot of dynamics at play, but yeah, certainly I feel the underestimation, and I've had the series of phrases like, oh sweetie,
Mm,
honey, in And you don't mind those phrases if it's coming from a good place,
Right.
and really not from men in a workplace ever.
Yeah.
Um, but outside of that, you don't mind that if you knew that they respected your work, and eventually the respect does come, but it takes time.
Mm.
And so, kind of having to prove yourself has been one of the things that I know we don't necessarily like to say that we need to prove ourselves, but in a work environment, people gain trust over time.
Right.
And especially in this world where, airlines start up, close up, start up again, close up, many
Mm-hmm.
times. Thank God we have been consistent
Yeah.
over these 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Um, and we've had a lot of changes and expansion in the past 5 years. And I think once people see that and they recognize that, okay, maybe she knows a little bit what she's talking about, even though it's not just me, of course. I'm one of a lot of people
Right.
who make this operations happen. But yes, I would say underestimation and just having to prove yourself and
Mm.
work, 10 times harder.
Yeah.
Also, if I just a bonus point, I would
Yeah.
say communication,
Mm.
because my dad curses like a sailor as for fun. Like he cusses all day. Man, you see that mother F and that. He laughs and talks, and everyone is used to that. The,
Mm.
you know, I'm pretty disappointed in the way how this was conducted. She is such a bitch. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
A different kind of like reaction. And I don't know if I think for women, we're just not allowed to look as if we're angry or bothered. And I'm like, you just heard him curse you up and down.
Right.
And the minute I say some sort of negative or criticism, it's just taken with more weight. So I guess that's a good thing, but it's just like, people can be a bit more sensitive when it's coming from a woman.
Yeah. No, that's such a great point. I think women in general are tone policed, right? And especially black women, right? Because we get that trope of the angry black woman. And if we say anything
Yeah.
even remotely in a different tone, if we're not
Yeah.
smiling and like very happy to do whatever,
Yeah.
all of a sudden we have a problem, right? All these different things, we have an attitude, yada yada. And that's really, really
She looked really upset. I'm like, I'm not upset.
yeah,
We're just
I was
talking.
upset. I was just sitting there looking, I'm just thinking, like
Yeah. Come
really
on.
frustrating. Really
It's
frustrating. So yeah, I really commend you for being able to handle those things because it's just it is not
annoying sometimes. It's
yeah.
annoying,
Yeah.
because not all the time. Okay, I'm a giggly person. I
Yep. Yep.
laugh all the time. However, certain topics that, I'm not going to be smiling. I'm not going to be nice all the time. And for each time when I'm not, oh, that's great. There's like, are you upset? You
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
Talking business. I'm not going to be smiling all the time.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And it's this pressure that's put on us to perform and to show up like that every day. And as soon as you don't, as soon as they catch you
Yes,
slipping, right? And then but then they
absolutely.
want to put you on a pedestal, right? And you're like, oh, well, the black woman is saving us and all these different things. That's when it gets really, really sort of frustrating. Um, what's been the most rewarding aspect of being a black woman in the aviation industry?
Um, um, I gotta say, you know, I love a smooth day. I
Mm,
know that is maybe like an obvious, but the reason why I say that is because if for some reason I don't get any calls from dispatch, it
mm,
means everything was on time.
right,
No flights needed to be changed. Like it means that the system put in place
mm,
worked.
mm,
And that to me is a demonstration of a quality operation.
right,
And so I I I constantly feel a sense of pride and just being really content when that happens, not because I'm not getting calls,
no, yeah,
but because I know that that means that the passengers are having a smooth experience. Now, every day is not smooth
right,
because I mean, there's so much working factors, weather, mechanics. There's so much different things.
yeah,
However, for what we can control in terms of the passenger experience, as much as we can make that easy,
Right.
that's where we're trying to go, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah. Love that. Love that. Definitely appreciate that as a customer. And as someone who's not,
Yes.
I'm not a huge, I love flying, like, but I don't like flying, if that makes sense. So
Get
I
it.
really appreciate that. And I look forward to flying with you all one day. We stan a multi-talented, multifaceted woman. So let's get into this music career. You released two singles in 2020, "How You Feel" and "All Our Lives," both with over 100,000 views. All like, oh my gosh! Like, how did you get into music? Has it always been a passion of yours? And sort of what made you go after it as you were pursuing your other career as well?
I've always been into music. I just didn't realize how much of a business
Hmm.
it is. Really a business, and quality matters, and all of those great things that you probably are taught in some music industry school,
Hmm.
I did not know. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I just had just a genuine interest for entertainment. I wouldn't even just say like, singing. It's always been dancing or theater and stuff that I've done in high school and in college, and always did talent shows. So it's always been around. But I think wanting to put out music,
yeah.
I guess, semi seriously or seriously, came about fairly recently. And I had to work through the idea of, oh, I wonder what people are going to think. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I
Hmm.
had to kind of get over that hump,
Right.
and also to be vulnerable enough to recognize that it's a process that you get
Mm-hmm.
time, your quality of work gets better with time, and you evolve, as an artist. And so obviously, I mean, I've been busy,
Yep.
and then COVID kind of
Yeah.
changed things
Yeah.
drastically. However, it's such a outlet. And at the end of the year, when Spotify did that whole
The rap.
um,
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
I was I felt so like
Yeah.
rewarded. I
Your
felt
numbers
really
are great.
that somewhere in India,
Yeah.
some listening to All Our Lives
Yeah.
a few times a day. And so I just think that's just so great, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I love that. I remember seeing your Spotify Wrapped, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
this is amazing." And I will definitely link both of those videos below so everyone can check them out. Definitely go look at them.
Yes.
They are very warm and they make you feel good. So I hope that you all will get to.
It's like Pop Island. It's very
Yes,
light. It's
yes,
very light. Yeah.
and the colors are vibrant and everything. It's great.
Just
Um,
good vibes, as I
yeah,
say.
love it. Besides music, law, aviation, all the amazing things that you've accomplished thus far, is there something you still want to try? In a couple of other interviews, you've mentioned like never stop learning and all those different things. So
Yeah.
what do you want to continue to try as you continue on this
Hmm.
journey?
That's a good question. Um, Goodness. So, I mean, I've taken the time since the pandemic to get more nerdy in terms of getting another bar license.
Okay, yeah.
So that's what I've been doing recently. So I haven't really pursued anything outside of law, aviation, and music for a while. But everybody's always joked about me not knowing how to cook. And so
Mm,
I've recently said, you know what? I think it's time
yeah,
that
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
have an idea. Actually, could cook. I just don't apply myself.
Right.
So,
Okay. I'm with
it's
you on
something
that.
that you have to. Yeah, it's something you have to do consistently.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
I would love to learn Bahamian dishes. Which is it's very similar to soul food.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I would love to try that out and maybe do a few things like that. But that's about it.
Yeah, we love it. A little bit of cooking channel on the YouTube or on the
Yes.
Instagram, maybe. We'll see a little bit of that as
Oh,
well.
yes. And
Yeah.
now that you said that, would love to explore learning about other family businesses, because
Mm-hmm.
I believe that there are so much dynamics that maybe the average person does not is not aware of
Right.
what it means to be in a family business. And so I've been exploring some ideas and discussing some ideas of kind of bringing that to light to people, and seeing how unique that could be in
Yes.
all across different industries.
Yeah.
So really looking forward to doing something like that.
That would be really great. And I think people would be really interested in, especially as it's not as common these days to have a family business still. I
Right.
think a lot of people would be really interested in hearing about,
Yeah.
especially, I lived in Japan for a couple years. And so there's a ton of
Wow.
family businesses that have lasted for thousands of years. There's a lot of family
Yeah.
businesses. I'm from Chicago. I'm in Chicago. So there's a lot here. So I'm sure there are people that would be interested in talking to you or like, exploring that and watching that because
Yeah,
it
I
is
mean,
so
across the
important.
board, there's barbershops, there's hotels, there's so many, especially Black-owned family businesses. That would be a really, to
Yes.
just maybe shine a light on that. That would be really,
Yes. That would be amazing. Oh my gosh, I hope you do that. I
yeah.
definitely look forward to that for sure. Is there anything that you'd like to promote? Anything you're working on? Anything with the airline that you'd like us to know? This is sort of your
Yes.
time. Yeah.
Yes. So we are approaching the finish line in regards to our US certification, and being able to offer flights from the Bahamas to the US. Of course, we're starting with Florida because
Okay.
that's where
Yep.
Bahamians like to go the
Yes.
most.
Yes.
And so we're going to be looking forward probably within the next few months down the line this year though,
Yep.
launching US flights, and we're so excited about that. It's been a long time coming,
Yeah.
and if everything continues to go as planned, which I believe, God willing, it will, we would like to do a launch and kind of start those back-to-back flights from Florida into the
Love it.
Bahamas.
Love
So
it. That'll be wonderful. So many people will really appreciate that. And it'll make it a lot easier. I know my family, we will just let us know. We will get the tickets
yes,
and we will be on a plane and we'll be going
yes,
there to the Bahamas. Yeah, that's so awesome. So I really hope that goes smoothly and we can't wait to hear about
thank
that.
you.
We can't wait to hear about
I
that.
will keep you updated.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Yeah.
All right. Final question. It has to do not really with aviation, but with travel, if you will. So
Mhm.
here's your this or that question. Would you rather have the ability to stop time or the ability to travel through time? Now, some might argue that flying is traveling through time.
Mm.
I digress.
Ooh, well, I would say travel through time. Definitely try because I feel like I have more options,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, yeah,
I That means I could stay where I'm at, I could
yeah.
go backwards, I could go forward, I could see a lot of things. So travel, definitely travel. I think we've had enough of stopping with this COVID.
That is a great point. We can
Yeah,
keep moving forward now. Yeah, it feels like we've been in the
yeah.
same day for almost a year now. But yeah,
Literally.
yeah,
Yeah.
just it's really Groundhog's Day every day. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak
Thank
with
you.
me. I really, really appreciate it, and I cannot wait to see what's up next for you. And definitely can't wait for those flights from Florida to the Bahamas.
Yes, yes. Thank you, and continue to do these amazing interviews. It
Thank
really is
you.
a touch.
Thank you. Thank you so